Hey guys, I want to do a quick video on what we do when someone comes in to start striking. We're putting this out especially for the kids. I'll probably put this up for the adults too. We're going to be doing a lot of kickboxing classes as you come in. So I want you to pick 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Actually, Scott, if you can tilt the camera, I want you, when you pick a foot, make sure you can see the tape right here between my feet. I don't want to be standing like this. A good way to start is to get shoulder width apart and then take that foot and bring it back. My front foot right now is going to face forward. I know in different striking arts that foot will turn, but we're going to keep it forward for now. And the rear foot, the heel will just be slightly off the mat. Okay? So as we come back up, in position here, we're going to start with a little bit of a bladed stance, which means if my left foot is forward, my left shoulder is going to come forward as well. My head's looking forward. One of the things when you start striking, round your shoulders forward a little bit. It's going to make it easier to rotate through your punches, through your strikes. If you're standing up tall and proud, it's very hard to generate power through your legs and get it through your hands. All right? So, we get our stance set. My left shoulder is facing forward. My head is still looking straight ahead. It's not moving with my torso. Chin just slightly down. Actually, a good rule of thumb, if you have gloves or a tennis ball, you can put your chin down and kind of let the tennis ball rest on your chin. I don't need to be doing this, but I don't want my head up high here either. Shoulders forward, rounded, head in. From here, we're going to bring our hands up. And as our hands come up, I want you to imagine I have a flashlight in each hand, right? Flashlight here, and I'm shining them directly at you. If there was a person across from me, that flashlight would be shining right on the person's chest here. Right? My rear hand is going to be on my jaw. I'm going to keep it here. Almost every time we start with someone's new, they keep their hand out here. This is not good for Muay Thai, not good for boxing, not good for MMA. You will see fighters putting their hands out at long range, but we want to get used to our home position being right in here. If someone hits me here, I want all that impact going into my shoulder. If my hand's out here, I'm going to hit myself. Right hand, rear hand is on your jaw. My front hand, I'm going to keep halfway out in front of my face. This arm is slightly extended. If I'm getting hit, I'll bring it in. For now, we're bringing it out to here. As we throw, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to break this down before we start trying to actually throw a punch. The first movement here is just to hinge at the elbow, like this. Next movement, can you get my feet in here? As I move, it's going to be a little push off the back foot and still just hinging at the elbow. From here, the hand is now going to slide straight out and straight back. And I want to imagine there's a laser beam coming out of my eyes. If I'm in front of a mirror watching, I'm imagining it's just hitting that beam and going right back. My hand wants to stay on that laser beam. I don't want any arc on this hand at all. So from here, I'm going to push off the back foot, slide out and back. Avoid going too far. When people first start, one of the first things they do is they push and they break at the hip and they bend forward and their shoulders come forward. So a good way to think about this is to throw the strike about 80% distance. Now this is a nice starting position because I'm not rotating anything here. With no rotation, that means my elbow shouldn't be coming out. My elbow stays on that same plane the whole time. The next movement, I'm going to push off the back foot. My strike goes about 50% of the distance forward that it's going to take, and I will rotate my hand. In fact, I'm going to over-rotate this punch so that it comes out further than I think it would want to go when I'm landing here. If you look, my jaw is protected by my left shoulder here. My left shoulder is protecting the left side. My right hand is protecting the right side. And I retract. Straight back on that line. I'm still thinking of a laser beam coming out of my eyes. And back. And back. As you start throwing, we want to breathe every time we throw. I want to make a The reason we're breathing, there's a few reasons. Number one, if you think about taking a 2-liter bottle, milk bottle, it's empty, you want to crush it. You put that lid on and try to crush it, the air's not going anywhere. It's not moving. We take the cap off and twist it, it's much easier to break that down. A lot of the power of my strike is going to come from my legs driving off the mat. If my lungs are full of air and I lock my breath, a lot of the energy gets trapped in here. If I'm breathing out, my body's more fluid, it's more relaxed, and that energy transfers more efficiently and effectively. Number two, if I can hit you, you can hit me. If I step in to throw a punch, it's likely you're going to hit me. And if I'm breathing in and I get hit, that's when you get the wind knocked out of you. If you've ever been hit by a ball or fallen down and hit the ground and had the wind knocked out of you, it's likely you're breathing in as you get hit. And it's a horrible feeling to get hit, have the wind knocked out of you, and do this while this person's still trying to come and hit you. If I breathe out, my abs will tighten around that shot more effectively. Right? So when we breathe, the last thing is that I want to make this sound rather than the other thing of getting hit. If I start getting in the habit of breathing like and I get hit, that's going to break my jaw. Normally, I have a mouthpiece in and I'm biting down on the mouthpiece when I come in. So I have this. You don't need to bite down hard without the mouthpiece when you're drilling, but I still keep my mouth set when I'm throwing there. All right, so we have our jab or our one. It's our lead hand. Straight out and back and back. Our two, our cross. Again, we're going to start the same way. We're going to start by dropping at the elbow only. The only movement is the elbow. If you feel comfortable and your left hand, your lead hand, is off your face, you can bring that arm back. For some people, when they start working their cross, it's easier to start with both hands on their face at this point and come off. From here, just the elbow. Now, come back to the feet in here. This is actually probably one of the hardest motions when you start hitting. As I set and I just hinge at the elbow, watch my rear foot, my right foot is going to rotate and back and rotate and back. I want to avoid lunging. If I lunge and I throw a strike and I miss, I cannot get my weight back easily. If I rotate and I miss, I can retract a lot easier. My center of gravity is not moving forward here. So from here, we rotate and back, rotate and back. As we rotate, we're going to now do the second step here is to bring the hand straight out, straight back. Again, imagine I have laser beams coming out of my eyes. My hand is going to come straight out. I'm not rotating the fist, and back. Again, think 80% of distance on your strike. I don't want to reach too far or break at the hip and lean forward. The next part is to add the rotation into the arm. So I start my strike, about 50% of the strike comes out, I over-rotate. Again, if you look at me from the side, my right shoulder should be protecting my jaw. My left hand should be protecting the left side of my jaw. And I retract straight back. So here's our two. First combo we learn when we first come in is a 1-2. Back. Back. Some common mistakes in here is that we throw the 1, retract, and then the 2, and retract. When I throw this, I want to throw the 1 as it's out, the 2 is coming as the 1 is retracting. So they move right by one another. And back. Watch the shoulder line. This is what's important. If you watch my shoulders spinning here on the 1-2, you're going to notice left shoulder's forward, right shoulder's back, and I'm just going to swap shoulders with the strike. And then I come back. What's going to happen for a lot of people, and this is where you can watch yourself in a mirror, a few things people do. They throw the 1. The most common thing is their 2 drops down here. You don't even realize it. We naturally start by punching with more power from our shoulders than we do with our hands up by our jaw. But if I do this is a tell. My opponent knows I'm going to throw the 2. It's very important to try to keep this hand up. It also makes it a little easier to reach. But you'll watch people sparring and they'll throw their jab a few times and then a jab will come out and their hand will drop and you know the 2 is coming behind it. So try not to drop this from here. We have to learn to throw our punches from up here. The next thing is you'll throw the one, and as the one retracts, it drops back down here. Or the two retracts and it drops down. A lot of people just pull their hands back down when they're done throwing. So we want to keep those hands nice and high on the same plane the whole time. Back. Now one last thing as we're throwing. My hands are pretty loose, especially when I'm not hitting a heavy bag. I don't have a target in front of me. If I don't have my gloves on in here, my hands are kind of open in position here. And as I'm throwing, there's no tight fist. If I tighten my hands up too much when I start in here, I have no speed in the strike. All the muscles are tight, there's no speed, I'm gonna lose out on power. And I'm more interested in a nice, easy motion. Again, nice, easy, level plane the whole time. I'm trying to throw, let my shoulder come up. Again, one of the things I'll see people doing with their shoulders is they'll try to throw, and their shoulder stays down here, and then they put their jaw to their shoulder, and that's not what we're looking for. The more your shoulders are rounded, and the more you over-rotate, the easier it is to get those shoulders up. So as we start, 10 jabs, 10 crosses. I like doing things in a set of 10 so you can get a feel for the flow of what's happening rather than one move, you know, throwing one jab, throwing one cross, throwing 1-2, right? And then I'll do 10 1-2s. Come back every time, reset. So this is the first thing we start with. If you're at home, mess around with this, play with this. As we get back into kickboxing and you guys are coming in, I will be talking about this in class, but I hope you guys have this to work on at home. Thanks, guys.